If you feel like something inside you is quietly closing, even though nothing ended outside, stay here. This video is not about motivation or quick answers. It's about recognizing a subtle moment most people ignore. Don't rush. Listen slowly. What you understand by the end may explain why your old life no longer responds the way it used to.
There is a moment when effort stops producing results. You try harder, think more, push further, yet nothing moves. This stagnation feels frustrating because it contradicts everything you were taught about persistence. But not all resistance means keep going. Sometimes resistance appears because a cycle is ending. Continuing to push against a closed phase drains energy instead of creating progress. When a cycle ends internally, the mind often refuses to accept it. Logic searches for fixes, strategies, and adjustments, yet no solution satisfies. This creates mental fatigue. The problem is not lack of effort, but misplacement of effort. You are investing energy where life has already withdrawn support. Recognizing this is uncomfortable because it challenges identity, routines, and long-held commitments. Endings rarely arrive with clear announcements. They arrive through loss of resonance. What once inspired you now feels distant. What once energized you now feels heavy. This shift is subtle, often ignored for months or years. But ignoring it does not restore meaning. It increases inner conflict. Awareness does not end the cycle. It allows you to stop fighting what has already completed its role. Most people respond to stagnation by trying harder. They add pressure, discipline, and control, believing effort will reopen what feels blocked. But effort cannot revive a cycle that has completed its function. When life stops responding, it is not testing your strength. It is redirecting it. Confusing redirection with failure keeps you trapped in loops that drain clarity and self-trust over time. This is why exhaustion feels different now. It is not physical tiredness. It is existential friction. Your actions are no longer aligned with your inner development. Each attempt to push forward increases resistance instead of progress. This friction is intentional. It forces awareness. Without it, many would remain stuck repeating familiar patterns long after they stop serving any real purpose. Accepting that something has ended feels threatening because it destabilizes identity. You wonder who you are without this role, goal, or direction. The mind fears emptiness. Yet emptiness is not loss. It is space. Space allows redefinition. Clinging to what ended out of fear delays transformation. Letting go does not erase who you were. It frees who you are becoming. At this point, denial often appears disguised as optimism. You tell yourself things will improve if you wait longer or adjust slightly. But deep down, you sense repetition, not renewal. Hope becomes a way to postpone acceptance. This is dangerous because it keeps you emotionally invested in an outcome that no longer exists. Awareness asks for honesty, not patience with what has already concluded internally. Letting go feels like admitting defeat, especially when you invested time, energy, and identity. The mind calculates loss instead of liberation. But endings are not judgments. They are completions. Something fulfilled its role and released you. Refusing to acknowledge that completion keeps you emotionally stuck. Closure is not forgetting. It is recognizing that carrying something forward no longer serves growth or truth. This realization often triggers fear of uncertainty. Without the old structure, direction feels undefined. Yet undefined does not mean empty. It means flexible. The need for certainty belongs to survival, not evolution. Growth requires tolerance for the unknown. When you stop demanding immediate answers, anxiety softens. The absence of clarity becomes a temporary state, not a threat to your identity or future. Fear intensifies right before release. The mind warns you about instability, regret, and mistakes. It replays memories to justify staying. But fear does not indicate danger here. It signals transition. What you are releasing once provided safety. Now it restricts growth. Listening to fear as guidance keeps you small. Observing fear without obeying it allows movement toward alignment without unnecessary self-betrayal. True acceptance is subtle. There is no dramatic moment, no announcement. You simply stop arguing internally. The need to convince yourself disappears. Resistance dissolves quietly. This calm can feel strange after long tension. Some mistake it for numbness. It is not numbness. It is neutrality. Neutrality marks the end of inner conflict. From this place, decisions stop draining energy and start restoring it. Once conflict ends, perspective changes. You can look at the past without emotional charge. Lessons become visible. Mistakes lose their sting. This clarity does not erase pain, but it integrates it. Integration transforms experience into wisdom. Without integration, endings repeat themselves. With integration, cycles close permanently. You no longer need to revisit what has already taught you everything it could. Stability does not mean certainty. It means internal agreement. You may not know where you are going, but you know what you will no longer tolerate. This clarity feels grounding. Your nervous system relaxes because it is no longer fighting itself. When inner agreement forms, life stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like participation. You are no longer forcing movement. You are allowing direction to emerge naturally. From this place, choices simplify. You stop overanalyzing. You feel when something is wrong before logic intervenes. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is recalibration. After long misalignment, intuition sharpens. The body becomes a compass. Ignoring this compass now feels uncomfortable, even painful. That discomfort is protective. It prevents you from returning to paths that once felt familiar but no longer feel true. You begin respecting your own timing. There is no urgency to replace what ended. Filling the space too quickly would recreate misalignment. Patience becomes an act of self-respect. This is unfamiliar for many, yet deeply stabilizing. When you allow space without rushing meaning, something authentic begins to form. Not from pressure, but from coherence between who you are and what you choose next. As trust develops, urgency fades. You no longer feel pressured to define everything immediately. This calm is earned, not passive. It comes from no longer resisting what ended. Trust here is not blind faith. It is self-consistency. You trust yourself to respond honestly as clarity unfolds. This inner reliability replaces anxiety. You stop searching for certainty outside and begin recognizing stability within. With this trust, your relationship with time changes. You stop measuring progress by speed. Slow no longer feels like failure. It feels intentional. Rushing now feels dangerous, not productive. This shift protects the integrity of what is forming. When timing aligns with awareness, actions become precise. Fewer moves create more impact. Direction strengthens not through repetition, but through alignment with readiness. You may notice distance forming between you and certain people, places, or habits. This distance is not rejection. It is resonance adjusting. As alignment deepens, incompatibilities become clearer. Forcing connection where resonance ended creates strain. Allowing distance restores peace. This does not mean abandonment. It means honoring evolution. Growth naturally reorganizes relationships without needing conflict or explanation. As the cycle fully releases, guilt may surface unexpectedly. You question whether you should have tried more or stayed longer. This guilt is not truth. It is conditioning. You were taught that endurance equals value, but endurance without alignment becomes self-neglect. Releasing guilt restores clarity. You did not quit too early. You stayed long enough to learn what this phase was meant to teach you. Closure does not require dramatic endings or explanations. Sometimes closure is simply internal permission to stop carrying something forward. This permission is quiet, yet powerful. It frees attention. Energy returns. You stop revisiting the same mental loops. When closure happens inside, the external world gradually reorganizes. You no longer seek signs to leave. You recognize that you already have. At this point, something shifts permanently. You stop identifying with the struggle. The story changes from, "Why isn't this working?" to, "This no longer represents me." This shift restores dignity. You are not broken. You are complete with this chapter. The end is not rejection. It is recognition. Recognizing when something no longer belongs is a form of self-respect. After recognition, calm replaces inner noise. You no longer replay conversations or question decisions. Mental space opens. This calm is not emptiness. It is resolution. Resolution allows focus to return to the present instead of the past. You begin noticing what supports you now rather than what once defined you. Attention shifts forward naturally, without effort or forced optimism. From this calm, new impulses arise quietly. They are not urgent or dramatic. They feel simple and honest. Small curiosities, gentle interests, subtle excitement. These are not distractions. They are indicators of alignment returning. When energy flows again, it does not shout. It invites. Listening to these invitations without pressure allows direction to form organically, rooted in truth rather than escape. You may realize that the ending gave you something valuable: discernment. You now recognize misalignment faster. What once took years to notice now takes moments. This discernment protects your future. It prevents repetition. Growth becomes efficient, not rushed. You are no longer learning through exhaustion. You are learning through awareness. This marks a new relationship with life itself. If you are here now, this phase is active within you. You are not meant to return to what ended. You are meant to move forward differently. Not louder, not faster, more aligned. Trust what feels clear and calm. Life does not remove paths without reason. It clears space so something truer can enter. This ending is not loss, it is alignment. If this video helped you understand what you're releasing, stay connected. Subscribe and return whenever life feels unclear or heavy. These messages are created for moments of transition, not distraction. Share this with someone who is still trying to hold on to what has already ended. Awareness grows when it is shared.